Hello YouTube, we're gonna watch Turkey Tom, the TikTok furry who almost got away with it. This was a pretty long video. I like watching these videos, they're silly. So I guess we'll see. I've never heard of this person. So who knows? Next one. Another one.
Well, Elmo, I think we could dispatch you to the Middle East. Maybe you could solve some problems.
I've never heard of this gal. Elmo!
The art of puppetry is a very unique one. It requires the careful manipulation of inanimate objects to make them seem lifelike beyond mere human imagination. For those in the profession, complete mastery can only follow years of vigorous training and performances, with such displays of talent drawing enthusiasts from far and wide.
You want to start us off? Sure.
Yeah, I would imagine it's really hard.
Where is, don't do it, your other hand? No, what? Don't do that. Why not? Because you know, I know, yeah, and I don't agree with it, I know.
How do people talk like that?
Unsurprisingly, many of these enthusiasts congregate online to create communities out of their passions. And in 2017, a small-time South Carolina girl by the name of Icierra Green set up a TikTok account to be a part of it, while also posting about her personal life and
like
hobbies.
Puppetry?
Sounds pretty unremarkable, but there was one small catch.
They talk like through their teeth? Yeah.
The videos she posted were profusely unhinged, and the relationships that she formed with willing, and more often than not, unwilling individuals would eventually garner her notoriety all over the internet, culminating in 2025 with her complete disappearance from the internet amongst a flurry of allegations of inappropriate behavior. With all of this coming together to beckon the question, what happens when the line between person and puppet becomes blurred? I'm Turkey Tom, and this is Icierra the Furry.
The furry!
Early records of Icierra's time online are patchy. Her early TikTok and YouTube accounts were both removed from the platform,
who almost got away
and she
with
wouldn't
it.
become the subject of the internet's attention until around 2021. Her background similarly isn't too available, but in a few older videos, she has shared some of the more unique sides of herself.
A girl knows how to move those
20s,
hips.
She's 5'1", she's taken, she's asexual, she claims to be autistic, and she was a child of fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS for short.
Sad.
Children afflicted with FAS generally lack social skills too. They tend to get easily frustrated, thereby throwing temper tantrums very often. They exhibit symptoms of being overactive and are not able to sit in a place.
FAS is the most serious manifestation of a spectrum of disorders that arise from alcohol intake during pregnancy. There are many symptoms that can present in children with this condition, but in this video, Icierra highlights the more behavioral aspects, and it wasn't too hard to see exactly why.
Wouldn't you want to no!
From the start, Icierra's uploads probably drew raised eyebrows from those who discovered her content. Such content would often entail poorly timed lip syncs, some very weird choreographed dance routines, and trippy editing that really didn't possess any real purpose.
Insane.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You think you can survive?
There was something very primitive about Icierra's
Why
videos.
she make her
This was
grandma
clearly a
dance
person
there?
who understood how to operate technology and how to create content, but at the same time possessed no actual grasp on why creators make the artistic choices that they do. However, the strangeness doesn't stop there. In fact, it's just the start, as Icierra's interests and how she expressed them went a little further than the average TikToker.
The ghost face mask.
So hard that you will never get the taste of me.
Girl!
One of Icierra's primary passions was puppetry, which is a pretty harmless hobby for all
okay,
intents
she
and
gets a little
purposes,
spicy.
or so you would think. Because Icierra's intent behind her interest in puppets often went beyond the merely platonic. Although she wasn't an expert in the field, she definitely knew how to make her subjects appear absolutely terrifying.
Wait, let's go. Hold up. I just need 1 minute of time. If you're furry,
this is what unrestricted internet access does to motherfucker.
with me? That's all I'm asking. Please?
And Icierra was also a furry who would regularly equip herself with paper ears and
I'm a
dinosaur
fucking
masks
anime
to
girl on the
express herself
internet.
to her audience.
Can't really
These
say
often
much.
included videos where she would emulate traits of animals, which I suppose is somewhat normal for those in the furry community, but it really isn't too normal for many other people.
How's
Yo, Pudgy, how you feel about people saying you sound like Yoshi?
We're still not quite done yet though, because given that she informed the world of her fetal alcohol syndrome, you can probably come to the reasonable conclusion that Icierra is terminally online. For her, this meant sharing practically every single aspect of her life with TikTok, including her friendships and relationships, which she handled with even greater levels of instability. She often sought out camaraderie with other men, who she would encounter on TikTok and cozy up to until they let her into their life. The honorary position that many of the people in her circle were given was that of the brother. Contrary to popular belief, this is not because they are blood relatives. Instead, it seems to be a reference to the fact that she would view you as someone who was always going to be there for her, which is a pretty demanding expectation. The problem was that she really didn't have much to offer in return to these people. So many of them ended up distancing themselves from her because she was just too much to handle, which would then cause her to crash out and ask what she did wrong. She would often tag these former friends and hope that sharing her story with confused onlookers would somehow feel like an authentic means of self-expression and woo them back to her. Unfortunately for Icierra, in practically every scenario, this did not work out.
Because ever since she accepted me as her internet brother, she has done nothing but ping me non-stop, almost daily to weekly to monthly for 2 years.
Oh my god, dude. Sometimes, like, I get really overwhelmed when I get, like, spammed. Oh my god, dude. I've had, like, there was, like, this person recently that I replied to, and I got, like, 20 messages in return. I was like, brother, I can't process this. Slow down. Slow down. It overwhelms me so much,
so
dude.
I kindly asked her to stop pinging me so much.
It was insane.
And she would always bring up a bunch of excuses, like how much she wants to express her love.
Good thing you aren't up against her in a dance battle. True, dude. I would lose.
I want to move on from this, but she still doesn't.
Her overly clingy nature, combined with her strange personality, made it hard for her to keep any of the people that she wanted the attention of in her life, often pushing them away. This meant that for the first of her few years on TikTok, she mostly existed in her own little world, attracting a little bit of attention, but nothing that would make her remotely memorable. When I send you messages in word increments,
no, kinda, not you. Not you. It was on... Okay, it was... I'll give you the story. So, there was someone that was, like, spamming me on Twitter. And then they went to my Fansly. And they messaged me there. And I was like, hey, like, hope you have a good day. Like, thank you for the kind words. The second I replied, I got, like, really long messages. Like, at least 20, bro. I can't. I just can't, bro. Like, I like talking to people, but when it's like that, I just get so fucking overwhelmed. Do you guys understand? Like, I want to have, like, a conversation where we're both going back and forth, not where, like, I send one message and I get bombarded by, like, 50 messages. It's just too much for my brain, bro.
As Icierra was about...
And honestly, it was, like, a lot of very parasocial things, too, so I'm kind of like...
You see, Icierra would... run through multiple men before settling on someone who didn't seem particularly understanding of her advances.
Well, it's because I didn't know them. You know, I barely knew them.
But at the same time, he didn't try to actively push her away like others had.
Is mayonnaise
book reading time, yeah.
No,
like, it's not even a conversation at that point because I can't speak.
This is Midderman the Puppet Man, or Gregory. Like many of the other gentlemen that Icierra took an interest in, he is autistic. It probably won't come as a surprise to you to find out that he is also a puppet enthusiast, and he even has his own puppet by the name of Stan.
Understand.
However, unbeknownst to Gregory, soon he would have an even bigger Stan to
No,
deal with.
I got, like, love bombarded, which is not good. I feel like in the space, the VTubing space, and, like, even as me, like, doing lewd work, I don't like being bombarded with, like, I love you, and, like, in a serious way, you know? Like, I love you in a serious way, and a bunch of, like, overly parasocial messages. It's insane.
Ooh, I'm a spooky ghost.
I think I know. No, you don't. I haven't said anything about this.
You want to say that again?
No, you don't.
Given their shared interest in puppets,
fairly
Midderman
recent.
first encountered Icierra around the late 2010s, even doing duets with her a few times on TikTok.
But that's just one person.
Of course I love him. He's the cutest puppet in the world.
That's just one person. I enjoy talking to everyone else.
Yes, I love him too. I'm his favorite, and he's my favorite.
Icierra appeared to be equally interested in Greg as she was in his puppet, even staging some sort of romantic imposition onto both. However, when Icierra perhaps came to her senses and realized that the puppet wasn't real, she turned to the man behind him. It's hard to say when Sierra's crush developed into a full-blown romantic engagement, but according to our furry friend, they officially entered a relationship in 2020, with Icierra and Midderman sharing romantic TikToks and projecting their loving relationship online for the world to see. Even creating her own TikTok family where Stan is the sun, which definitely has implications when you consider she tried to date him too. But if you paid closer attention, you'd probably realize that this was a bit one-sided.
Looking fun today.
However, it didn't seem like Gregory was actively trying to distance himself from Icierra. He even tagged her in his TikToks from time to time. On one of Greg's own uploads, someone tagged Icierra asking if this was her man, and Greg replied stating, "I am her man," which provides confirmation that he was at least aware of the relationship and seemed to want to be in it. Greg also posted a Valentine's Day tribute on behalf of Stan, which seemed to demonstrate some romantic interest in Icierra. However, as her TikTok surrounding this relationship only intensified, with Icierra even sharing DMs with the world to show they were in a relationship.
God, I wish my TikToks got views like that. Fuck,
This was
dude.
because after years of posting, his girlfriend was finally attracting attention for her eclectic expressions of insanity, which Greg was beginning to feel the effects of.
I'm back!
Oh my god!
Now, Icierra could have managed this by decreasing the volume of her own posts and giving him her attention instead, but that would have been too sensible. Greg would ask if they could return to being friends in light of all of this attention, but Icierra just said no.
I know you don't want me to leave, but it's time to move on.
Okay, babe, I have a question for you. Since you've been doing all these TikTok videos, can you please give me attention, please?
Icierra Green was the type of creator that drew people in because they were completely bewildered by the content that she uploaded. Even if we set aside the unhinged partner posting, there was material that would make you question whether this person was even real.
So you think my ears are crappy? Well, get this. At least I made mine instead of having to spend my own money on a pair of ears.
By 2021, she was beginning to develop this strange cult following of fan pages.
That's so
some
funny.
of them being outwardly ironic, and others blurring the line a little.
I beat this thing up, now stop, and let your homeboy hit it.
The viewers had discovered a treasure trove with Icierra Green, a person so lacking in self-awareness, yet also being so willing to put practically all of that ignorance on display, even the parts that people probably wouldn't want to see. It seemed virtually beyond belief that a person like this actually existed, and when they peeled back the onion, they only found more layers to pick apart.
They stink?
Yes. No.
One of the most common targets was her political stances, which landed her in hot water pretty immediately, especially given the communities that she identified with. One of her more public spats was with the LGBT community. Despite the fact that she herself identified as an asexual furry, it seems that the thought of same-sex marriage was one step too far for her, as she very eloquently declared it weird.
I don't support LGBTQ because it's wrong and very weird. Seeing people with all those flags hanging on the wall, gay, trans, whatever.
Damn, girl!
It's just not right.
Never mind, we don't like you anymore.
Everybody needs to be equal. Everyone needs to be in their own way. I was born straight and I am proud to be straight. These people just choose to be who they really want to be. They're not born that way. They can't be born that way.
To be fair to her, she is from a small town in South Carolina, and those communities tend to trend more conservative than the rest of the country. But what's more interesting to me is that her position seemed at odds with how she understood herself. And eventually, after persistent arguments with the community, which seemed to point out this contradiction, she changed her mind and decided she was no longer homophobic. In spite of all of this happening, allegations surrounding her character continued to offer themselves up on a silver platter. And because Icierra had a very visceral reaction to being compared to homophobes, racists, or the baby, it only encouraged people to persist further.
Who is the baby? Because I do not look nothing like whoever that person is.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm so done. I'm done.
Given how obsessive she was over trying to control those in her life, and even the narrative surrounding her, it seemed strange that she possessed practically no self-control whatsoever.
Am I that? Will you please?
She would attempt to adapt to this newfound fame,
What
but
the
this
heck
would
did I
only
come
serve
into?
to aggravate
We're watching
the
this video
relationship
about her
of
like a
audience.
furry.
You might be wondering why I'm pretty pissed off right now. Yeah. When I
She,
say
like,
my ears
fucked
are
up.
for sale,
I don't know what she
didn't
did,
mean just
but
go
she
and make
fucked
your
up.
own ears.
One of these ventures was a Discord server where people could meet with fellow Icierra fans. But as soon as it was launched, it was swamped by trolls and raiders who swarmed the server to unleash hell. And Icierra herself was the pinnacle of incompetence when it came to actually being in charge of anything. Although it's unknown what exactly caused it, given the many dramas she had started in the span of a few months, her TikTok account would be suspended in mid-June, causing the content
deserved
train to
after
come
what
to
she
a
said.
screeching halt. It appeared that
Should I
Icierra
cover
hadn't
this
taken
song?
the news well either, as reports began
Dude,
to
we
make
should
the
do a
rounds
cover of this
suggesting that
song.
she had tragically died shortly after. And because there were
Wait,
some
what is it
websites
called?
that made the same claim, as well as a few articles, and the fact there was radio silence since her ban, which for everyone who knew her seemed
She's
pretty
doing
out
your
of character,
cover? No.
tributes began to flood in from those who mourned her, and the content that she had blessed the TikTok platform with. Even if it was ironic,
not the
Sierra
cover I
Green had
did.
managed to cultivate an ardent following from her content. She had given audiences priceless comedy, political commentary, and romance. It was like a story unfolding in front of our eyes, and like the Shakespeare of our time, it appeared to have ended in tragedy. However, in the ashes, something was stirring, something that said she wasn't quite finished yet. Although, by the end of this video, you might wish she had.
Do it. I don't know what the song is called.
It
I
turns
forgot.
out that
Okay,
Icierra
Monster
was
by
very
Megan
much
Dia.
a-
Okay. Let's listen to it. Wait, it's so good. I don't think YouTube's gonna be able to hear this. Here it is. Monster, how should I feel? Creatures lie here, looking through the windows. Thanks, needed a little breather.
And that she had plenty more plans for her public profile. But her main problem over the next few years was a power
I'm gonna do a
struggle
cover
with
of it, but
TikTok to
specifically
establish
only that
herself
segment
as
of
an
the song.
online presence again, with many of her rebooted TikTok accounts being deleted as soon as they were created. During this time, a lot of people couldn't really keep up with the new accounts, and a lot of them forgot about her existence altogether, almost like she was dead. This left her to often post updates on her remaining social media, which mainly consisted of her YouTube channel, where she would attempt to emulate the success she had found on TikTok with YouTube Shorts. Before her ban, she had actually used this channel for musical projects and as a content dump for other miscellaneous stuff. But after being kicked
What
off
the
TikTok,
hell?
she would begin to
Jacksepticeye
post
X
music more
Fluttershy?
frequently, including classics like my intro song, Dance to Forget, and my personal favorite, the McDonald's rap.
Like a short?
I need a double
Maybe.
cheeseburger, hold the lettuce. Don't be
Okay.
funny, no seeds on the bun. We be up in this drive-through, order for two. Got a craving for a number 9 like my shoe. Need some chicken up in here.
Any content that was
Okay,
uploaded
okay,
here
I
was
see
just
her.
as characteristically
Look, he looks
unstable
kinda
as we've
fire.
come to expect. But you may have noticed that someone is missing from many of these videos, her beloved Greg.
I'm old enough to give myself my own tongue bath anyhow.
She had posted one YouTube
Yeah,
short
low-key
that
kinda
had to
fire,
do with
don't
him,
I?
and she possibly posted more content onto deleted TikTok accounts, but her interests as a whole seemed to pivot back towards the more fictional and parasocial. It seems there was trouble in paradise. But if there was, we could always count on Sierra to share exactly what it was. And in August, while struggling to hold down a TikTok account, she posted another music video on YouTube addressing her relationship, seamlessly marrying the personal and creative in a way that only Sierra could do, with the title being I'm Not a Pedo.
Oh my god!
Boyfriend, he's always something, but he broke up with me ever since my friends told I'm a pig.
As far as I could find,
Oh
nobody
my
was
God.
making such claims publicly, so this was, again, a more personal matter to her.
That's
Yet, she cuts right to the
crazy,
chase
bro. What the
and explains
fuck?
what's been happening, sharing that she's been missing her boyfriend dearly, but also saying that those close to her have compelled him to stop talking to her because of certain allegations.
But my friends told him to stay away from me, even though I don't look like a pig. That means pedophile.
Now, as I already said, at this point in time, there was no evidence that she had been doing anything inappropriate. Although it's not the wisest to be friends with 15-year-olds as a 24-year-old TikTok influencer, Icierra is definitely not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And at the time, it would have been hard to sell her as a malicious actor. Nevertheless, it is notable that by her own admission, it was her friends who told Greg to stop talking to her. And it's not hard to wonder exactly why they would do such a thing. It's a very bizarre self-report from someone who was under no suspicion whatsoever, at least publicly.
Can we get the genius interview for that song?
What the hell did I just watch?
I don't think I want it, bro.
I was just being nice to the 15-year-old.
When Icierra walks into the room, Colleen Ballinger gulps, R. Kelly tenses up, and P. Diddy shivers. This is what everyone talks about when they talk about the response to end all responses.
I'm not a pedophile.
When I talk about lack of self-awareness, this is what I'm referring to. On
Who
one
is
hand,
letting her
there was
access
just
the internet,
no way
bro?
that she actually thought this was a good idea. On the other, she must have thought it was a good idea in some way because she uploaded the video, not only sharing these incriminating details with the world when many of them weren't even aware, but also in the form of a song that's attempting to address potentially sensitive details. I just have so many questions that I don't think I'll ever be able to answer, and audience members did as well. If this isn't satire, then what is it? I think we could stop the video here and be done for the day, but she had so much more to say. She was motivated to make sure that this wasn't the last thing she would be remembered for. And although there aren't any major plot developments in the next couple years, Icierra's content continues in a similar vein to the previous videos, although it did draw in less drama during this time.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
It's been so long since I've seen you.
I miss you.
Her life as an internet nomad would persist for another few years, and although she wasn't entirely forgotten about, it did become very...
Can you guys start making videos of that with me and you guys? Please don't. I'm playing.
Very difficult for anyone to keep up with her, with many of her frequent followers having to go to her comment section to ask for the username of her newest account. Eventually, this cycle would be broken at the end of 2023 with the creation of an account that goes by the name of Mika Love Icierra.
I have all this power at my fingertips.
What's up?
It was unclear what exactly changed this time around, as TikTok's policies on ban evasion aren't exactly unambiguous. Nevertheless, she resumed posting with an expectation to stick around on this account.
So basically, a lot of people's been asking, how do I get my pinky toes to look like this? Well, basically, I'm pretty much born like that.
Her content itself hadn't really changed much. The videos tended to focus more on art and animation, but nevertheless, it was still very much her own. It was still surreal to watch, with videos never really feeling purposeful or authentic.
She's 27?
For example, at one point, she used an AI-generated voice and masqueraded it as her sister, which maybe to her was a tech-savvy decision, but it's pretty glaringly obvious, especially when you don't put the script through a spelling and grammar checker.
Hi everyone, this is Sierra's sister speaking. I help Sierra run the account and whatnot, but I just wanted to pop in and say a quick thank you to the recent support she's been getting.
The truth was that Icierra hadn't changed one bit. In fact, the only thing that had changed was who she focused her attention on.
Alright class, today we're going to be welcoming a new student into our class. Everybody meet Jaquavius Thompson. Nah, Jit, ugly. Nah, shoddy and mud.
Since Greg had left Sierra's life, she had developed more traditionally parasocial relationships with public figures. Some familiar faces continued to be subject to her affection, like Jacksepticeye, but it seemed in the past couple years, Sierra had diversified her tastes. In this time, she had become enamored by franchises like Hell of a Boss, Mario, Bluey, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, and Lazy Town. The last of which Sierra seemed to settle on for a good amount of time. She grew increasingly infatuated by the character Robbie Rotten.
Hello everyone, I'm here to talk to you about Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. For those who didn't grow up watching Lazy Town, you're missing out on one cool guy.
I assume most of you know who Robbie Rotten is,
awesome.
But for those who don't, he is the primary antagonist of Lazy Town and the enemy of Sporticus. He's obviously
Why did you choose this picture? Freaking out picture I found. Chat, we need more guys rocking this mustache in 2025. We need more of you guys rocking it.
Children's
Please.
character. He's not a particularly serious villain. And he's been the subject of a lot of memes in the past that you guys may remember, including the viral song,
I really remember We Are Number One. Yeah!
We are number one. Hey.
I don't think I've actually said the words, we are number one out loud since 2016 or something, but we're going back. Now, at first, Sierra's posting about Lazy Town felt more fan-oriented, but it didn't really take long for her true intentions to reveal themselves. If Sierra can develop romantic feelings for puppets, there's certainly nothing stopping her from falling in love with Robbie Rotten.
It was!
Upon first glance, you might even argue that it's an improvement on her previous suitors, but it began to feel a little more sinister when people came to the realization that our favorite furry TikToker likened herself to the character of Stephanie, even creating a couple of brief fan cams of Stephanie with Robbie Rotten, alongside a post where she announced that she is Stephanie's roommate.
I got a question. You like Robbie, right?
What? No, I mean, maybe, why did you ask that?
I saw you smelling at him.
Oh, you saw that.
I'm sure he will like you.
Like me? But he's kind of a jerk.
He may be a jerk. I admit I...
Stephanie is canonically a child. Lazy Town is a show made for
I'm
children,
scared.
and despite announcing that her new account would be 18+ a few months prior, Sierra announced that she will be creating a TV pilot for a show called Broken Friendship, where the main narrative concerned her and Robbie Rotten's relationship. This show would apparently feature Sierra, Robbie, and other voice actors, although when the various parts went live, the only voice that was present was Icierra.
It's been a while since me and Robbie talked. Ever since he lied about our friendship, I felt so hurt that I didn't want to talk to him anymore. But at the same time,
oh my god, bro.
This only becomes weirder a few months later when Sierra begins to cosplay as Stephanie, a move that can only be described as foreshadowing, but we'll return to that
I've been
in a
taking
bit.
mental damage for the past 20 minutes, same. What the fuck, dude?
You need help. You need serious help.
By now, Sierra was 27 years of age, and although everyone is entitled to have whatever interest they choose, it did feel kind of suspect trying to combine your self-admitted adult desires with TV shows primarily
the secondhand embarrassment is crazy
You contrast
right now.
this behavior with someone like her ex-boyfriend, Greg, whose enthusiasm for puppets is completely detached from inserting himself into their life. He just really likes them, and it makes him happy. On the flip side, Sierra is only happy if she is written in as a character that is going to receive some sort of gratification. She needs to be the center of attention, and I think that's what underlines all of her behavior documented throughout these past few years.
I'm sorry if that came off abrupt. I'm autistic and also a...
With Sierra managing to establish a large online presence once more on this new TikTok account, a creator by the name of Underflow published a video covering her backstory. Sierra saw this and posted a response stating that she had made a lot of mistakes that she is deeply sorry for. However, she also said that back then she was not herself. And since then, she's learned a lot. She never wants to repeat that behavior again. She just wants to make others happy and spread love to those who need it. And maybe that's all true, but it feels like we're forgetting something.
Oh my god,
I've really emphasized how insane that video is, when, as far as we know, Sierra was privately confronted over allegations that she had spoken inappropriately to someone underage. Allegations that, by her own admission, put her relationship with the love of her life in jeopardy. Her response is to make a minute-long song pushing this information out into the public as if that would make anyone more comfortable with her being around them. To Sierra, everything is this sort of TV show to be written and performed, sometimes with a musical number. Sierra Green can be whoever she wishes, with no boundaries whatsoever, no matter what the consequences might be, despite the fact that such behavior might not be remotely acceptable in society. Sierra felt like someone disturbingly lost within the fantasies that she created, to the point where the reality of the world around her didn't even matter. Yet, by this point, there was no clear indication that anything that Icierra had said herself had even occurred. It was undeniable that she was weird and possessed some strange habits, but her lack of sophistication seemed to render her a rather unthreatening person. It had been a while, and maybe she was telling the truth, that she had actually changed. Yet, come the end of 2024, this image would be completely broken.
Hello everyone, my name is Luca and I'm a victim of Icierra.
Ooh.
Icierra's videos didn't stray far from the themes we've already touched on during her existence on this account.
Chat, would you ever get a fursuit?
Past suspicious behavior, there was no indication that anything was amiss. You have Jacksepticeye appearing in Robbie Rodney's lair, Rick and Morty watching Jacksepticeye, and My Little Pony's Twilight Sparkle and Hell of a Boss. This was around the time that videos on her would begin to snowball as well, with creators covering her peculiar behavior and sordid past.
And like I said, sometimes she would
my neck hurts so bad, bro. I slept horribly yesterday.
Like, I pray for them to come back. And then sometimes she'd make entire videos acting like she's this person's boyfriend whenever they've already been trying to cut them off and blocking them on everything for years.
How much you paying?
However, at the end of November 2024, Icierra hopped on TikTok to share the sad news that her mother had passed away.
Hi everyone. So I got news that my mom passed away last night. And
that's sad.
She lived a good long life. I'm proud of her that she lived a good long life. Raising me and raising my sister. Life goes on. I'm gonna be proud for her and be brave for her as much as I can.
I said 2 cents,
This was not the first time that
$20.
Icierra had announced her mom's death. However, this one seemed more somber and authentic.
I am upset at the amount of money she probably made from this.
To the woman who raised
she probably
her.
made a
In
shit ton
spite
of
of
money.
the weight of such news, Icierra commits to her best for her every day, perhaps demonstrating some form of growth and understanding. The only question that remained was, what did Icierra's best look like?
I swear 16 was yesterday, but now I'm closer to 28.
1 week later, a new pinned post appears on Icierra Green's TikTok, allegedly from the former account manager. They claim that in light of recent allegations, they have locked Icierra out of the account. These allegations refer to her speaking inappropriately to minors, something which now, at the age of 27, looks even worse for someone like Icierra. If the first time this had supposedly happened hadn't taught her anything, then there must be some intent behind this. The admin states that they have checked the proof, and it seems reliable, and although they are still investigating it, they can 100% confirm that the messages were at least inappropriate in nature. They state that they won't be sharing any of the screenshots to protect those affected, but they are sharing this message here to raise awareness and ask people not to follow any new accounts operated by Icierra, as they may not be monitored. Although it's certainly believable behavior from a person who is capable of posting content like this,
I was just being nice.
Stop reminding me of this song!
It does raise a few questions. First of all,
I don't
why
want to
does
be
someone
reminded
like
of this song
Icierra
again.
have a TikTok account manager? Although there are a few explanations, the most plausible one here seems to be that it might have been to circumvent her previous bans. You could argue that this was still a form of ban evasion, but it seemed to have worked if that was the case. Now, regarding the content and allegations themselves, although it's fair to not share the identity of any of these people with the public, especially if they're underage, it seems a bit strange to not go into specifics and leave it mostly to the audience's imagination. Icierra has repeatedly claimed to be asexual,
it's crazy.
And although she may just be lying, to not share any details at all seems like it leaves more questions than answers. This is a person who was falsely reported to have died, and although I've never found the original source of these rumors, could this be just another strange trick from Icierra to grab attention? It certainly seems like a step up if it is, given that it's one that can ruin your reputation.
Why she got a big
faking
circle on her
pedophile
forehead?
allegations against yourself is definitely one way to get eyes on you. Now, Icierra would not make a sequel to her previous response to such allegations. There was no new song. Instead, she posted on her 4th YouTube account, Icierra Green Videos 4, uploading a masked singer edit of Sherlock Hound. In the comment section, someone would bring this up, asking what exactly had happened. But Icierra declines to comment, saying that it's a long story, but she has a new account called Jacksepticeye Fangirl. If this account had any activity, it was quickly shut down, and over the next few months, there were no further updates outside of other creators who couldn't help being reeled in by the insanity.
I mean, yeah, that's all we have. All of her comments were shut off after that, so we can't even communicate with each other. She hasn't showed up at all on any social media yet, and I guess I'll update you whenever we hear about her next.
Despite posting that the investigation was ongoing, the account posted no further updates, falling inactive for the new year, leaving the account and Icierra's fate shrouded in mystery. After further bans, Icierra would return once more with an account by the name of Mika the Raptor Fox. On this short-lived account, she would continue to upload content, pledging her dedication to Robbie Rotten, with a parody account pretending to be Robbie Rotten even being set up to take the piss out of Icierra in light of the claims against her.
Icierra surprises me and makes me a custom hat.
Don't you love me? Robbie, you're too nice. You're too kind. I mean, the hat's supposed to be purple, but I don't got no purple paper, but I'm gonna redesign it and make it, you know, differently.
Although records of comment sections and videos have largely been lost, a couple attempts by her to stream with her audience were captured, and the reception she received can't exactly be described as positive.
There's no way she believed that.
Isn't I like talking to minors because you're a foul? Stop talking, you bad girl.
Okay.
Oh my god. The drama's crazy.
After a pretty short stint with this account, at the start of June 2025, this account again was taken over by another person who shut it down, this time making a post that goes into a lot more detail about the allegations against her, which include supposedly shaming children, manipulating her 16-year-old boyfriend, engaging in erotic roleplay, sharing not safe for work stuff, pretty much everything explicit you can do with someone. This seems a lot more serious than anyone could have ever thought, and a couple of days later, an account by the name of Luca uploaded a video to YouTube documenting all of her violations against himself, his sister, and many others, accompanied with supplemental commentary.
We've both known her since we were 13, and she has done nothing but use us for her own personal needs.
Yeah, it's very recent.
We're 16 years old. We will be here to address the numerous allegations and confirming most of them with actual evidence.
There is a litany of documentation on display, including DMs, audio recordings, videos, pretty much every conceivable piece of evidence that could be organized against her. Given how little subtlety Icierra appears to possess, it's almost shocking that she wasn't called out sooner.
She basically told me she could be my mom, and looking at it now, she used his mom lovers, make me be a doll to her. I had to do anything she wanted or else I was being a bad daughter, and that she helped raise me in a way, despite her depending on us and never treated our issues seriously.
After so many years, I had grown an emotional attachment towards her and began caring about her. Over time, she stopped caring about the mother and son aspect of our friendship, saying I reminded her of Robbie and that I could be a good boyfriend if she ever broke up with her current man. She even began referring to me as his boyfriend to other people and complimenting my physical appearance and voice. This was very new to me since I hadn't received attention like that before, so I didn't question it much.
The content itself covers her inappropriate behavior and role plays with minors, alongside her short-lived relationship with a 15...
Wait, what did that say? Yeah, you... Look at you. You're so adorable. Malicious. Oh, well, Oh, come on. Don't try to hide it. Giggles.
Behavior and role plays with minors, alongside her short-lived relationship with a 15/16-year-old, which she ended when she found out his age, which does make her seem good at first glance, but it was only after 5 days of complete insistence from those around her. Icierra apparently continued to obsess over this person, and they are reported to have ended their life recently.
I think it should also be stated that even now, she still keeps photos of the unnamed victim and refuses to delete them, saying it's too hard to let go, which is disgusting considering it has been a year or more
this is what I've been looking for.
The video also reports on the generally poor treatment of those around her, including her pets, and the persistent pattern of behavior on all fronts, despite the repeated confrontation with others explaining the folly of her actions.
In this server, she spoke about Judith Barcy, I think that's how you say her name, I'm sorry, and her murder. This made multiple people uncomfortable. Since it was a sensitive topic, they all expressed their discomfort, and she in response started guilt-tripping everyone. She had found a TikTok where 2 cosplayers are cosplaying Robbie Rotten and Stephanie.
What
she then
the
proceeded to
fuck?
roleplay her finding Robbie cheating on her and began to use real photos from the show, or behind the scenes from the show, with the 2 actors saying that they had done gross things. We can see she is aware of what she's doing by calling out Robbie as a pedophile.
One of them is a
Yet
kid.
when being told how weird this all was, she insisted it was fine because it was only a roleplay.
Needless to say, this is not a person who has done a handful of bad things,
what the fuck?
realized it, learned their lesson, and not repeated it. Instead, this is a person who seems to be very much aware of the awful things that they're doing and continues to do them for
female
their own
version of
satisfaction,
castration.
only
That's what's
playing
needed.
the victim when they're finally confronted.
They're gonna regret it.
What?
What? They're gonna regret it ever doing that.
What are you gonna do to them?
Hi, Naive.
Nothing. I'm just saying they're gonna regret it. They're gonna come crawling right back to me.
What stands out to me about this video is just how actively malicious Icierra seems to be in her actions. We're gonna delve into the mentality behind it soon enough, but on the surface, she just seems to love controlling people. She loves people who don't stand up to her. This isn't merely delayed mental age. She is aware of her authority and is actively targeting a certain kind of person.
Icierra is known for talking to multiple minors, calling them her friends.
And they're over here, they're also telling me, oh, you shouldn't be hanging out with teenagers anyway. Like, I have one adult friend on Discord, and that's...
Luca's video also makes mention of another person called Nicholas Aguirre, who was, going off historical records, the one person who seemed to simp for Icierra, despite her regularly appearing disinterested in his advances.
Look, haters, if you do not like Icierra's content,
She might be a bit of a sociopath,
why follow
where she treats attention in social media as a game that you can win. Maybe.
You haters
horrible person, though.
don't like Icierra Green's content about her boyfriend. Y'all can go to yourselves.
Evidence is shared that he has also made disturbing advances onto underage individuals with links to other pieces of evidence, although these seem to be removed now.
In conclusion, Icierra is a grown 29-year-old
Brother,
woman who
what?
shouldn't be pampered and babied.
It only gets
just
worse
because
and
she's
worse.
Autistic. She's aware of her behaviors due to everyone telling her how wrong she is.
Remind her of her song.
Even she herself has admitted that she knows she's in the wrong, but she still does not want to own up to her mistakes.
If there was any doubt before, there was very little doubt left now. This was a
God,
person
this is
who
horrible,
shouldn't
dude.
be anywhere near the internet. And since that video, there has been radio silence from Icierra, who, for the time being, has realized her time is up. With all of that said, it wouldn't surprise me if she attempted a return in the future given her past record. These are the actions of a person who doesn't know when they're finished.
I don't recommend harassing or getting involved with her or anyone else included, especially if you're a minor. We share this to spread awareness, not for clout.
It's a rather depressing end to what could have been a much more lighthearted story, but it's one that needed to be told so her behavior could be brought to a halt. Unfortunately, sometimes the signs are right in front of us. There was always something up with Icierra Green.
Seriously? Ammonia is an illness. My mom died from a bad illness of ammonia.
It's a kind of strangeness that can
illness.
reflect
What?
a lot of character traits, and it's kind of hard to draw a conclusion from a snapshot of the person. That's how TikTok operates. These are sub-minute videos. They're not designed to tell a story, and most people who encountered Icierra's uploads wouldn't even be following it. They would just see the surreal dancing, the obsessive commentary, the purposeless editing, and be entertained by that alone. In many cases, TikToks tell us nothing about a person whatsoever.
That video,
and so
bro.
maybe we
I
shouldn't
don't need
draw
the
too
belly
many
dancing.
inferences from extreme eccentricity.
She's pretty tame in comparison to the majority of people that we cover on this
I thought
channel,
the video
and seems to
said
be
there wasn't
truly trying
more
to
like
learn
10
from her
minutes ago, but it
mistakes
gets
and
deeper
improve.
and deeper.
But she will continue to
I know,
face
right? It's getting
problems
worse
on
and worse.
any social media platform she uses due to the amount of unintentionally funny content that she produces.
Nevertheless, if you were following the story, you would see a rather disturbing pattern of behavior, particularly towards those in her life.
Okay, babe, I got a question for you. Give me some attention. again!
She seemed to obsessively target people who at least seemed somewhat susceptible. She would then parasitically attach herself, spam them with content, both publicly and privately, until all of their empathy and energy was drained. It's not my place to speculate on how she treated them, as those people would probably rather leave that part of their life behind. But it wouldn't surprise me if she also harassed them in many of the ways we've witnessed elsewhere. Her obsession with puppets was kind of weird, but it made sense when she revealed her character. This was a person who wanted absolute control, and there's no better representation of a person easier to control than a literal puppet.
We've been together for a year. This guy, he hid his feelings from me because he didn't want me to find out that he was in love with me. So I told him I had feelings for him, and he said he did the same thing.
Dude, I can't even focus. The volume is so loud on the other video.
Babe, what is wrong with you?
She treated each of her supposed brothers like puppets, scolding them when they didn't comply with her demands, expecting them to follow her clumsy sleight of hand and smile all the same. The problem is that Sierra's own lack of emotional intelligence rendered these ruses pretty fruitless, and even people who may struggle socially would inevitably wake up to her toxic traits. In light of this, her approach seemed to take a disturbing turn, at least partly resulting from the creation of her Discord account. The thing about Sierra is that, at least to me, she doesn't present as your typical creep. There's no strong evidence that she's sexually attracted to anyone other than Robbie Rotten and her many puppets. However, she was so desperate for indulgence that her own company couldn't bring, that she was always on the hunt for new victims. What she looked for in another person was for those who would tolerate her sick tendencies, enable these fantasies for her to live in, and act almost as a possession of hers. Once she had exhausted the route of autistic adults and attempting to fulfill this, she realized that the most tolerant people were those far younger than her, those who would look up to her, those who are more susceptible to her manipulation, who would make excuses for her. I'm sure she, and goons like Nicholas, would say that she has the mind of a child, but the evidence just doesn't support that. Although there's no doubt that she obviously has had some developmental issues, she doesn't exhibit behavior that entirely encompasses a regressed mind. And her cruelty towards all of these underage people in her circle is more than enough evidence of that. She would regularly hold her position as an adult over them. She spoke down to them.
You're
kind of
cute for a kid anyways.
Position, offered the benefits of knowing an adult while imposing her will and power over those people. This isn't someone who was too immature to really understand what they were doing. This is a person who was very much aware and disregarded the potential harm that it could have for the sake of her own benefit. You compare this to many of the brothers that came before her, and you see how stark it is. This is the difference between possessing juvenile tendencies and actually exploiting them.
Oh no, what did I walk into?
I'm not a pedophile.
Stop playing that song!
It's kind of surreal to think that the subject of her infamous response video is likely no longer with us. And as much as I don't really feel comfortable speaking to the role she may have played in another person's death, it is a testament to her vindictiveness that she could inflict so much damage over such a limited interaction.
It's gross that she weaponizes her autism. That is also disgusting as fuck too. Yeah.
Nothing. I'm just saying.
I hate when like predators get caught and they try to like weaponize like
on this channel, and I'm not going to pretend as if I'm some kind
like
of authority figure.
You know,
ultimately, what I make is entertainment. Okay, they're YouTube videos. I'm not the police, but there is no doubt that many of these people do deserve to be held accountable for their actions. Just
justify
not by me. But in a lot of cases, you can see how someone went down a dark path, and how there may even be a way back for them. In the case of someone like Sierra Green, she loves power, but she can only inflict it on those who don't have the power to say otherwise. That's a different type of disturbance, and it's probably the closest you can come to outright malevolence. It's the kind of thing that will lead to awful criminal behavior, and it seems that Sierra may have committed a few crimes as well. The victims have been in touch with law enforcement, but whether she'll actually be apprehended is a very different question. But it should highlight the seriousness of her actions nonetheless.
What the fuck?
Bang, 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 yo haters.
Crazy ears.
Say my name.
It's weird when you think of all the people that are covered online that this is the prototype of evil. Watching some of her videos, it's easy to forget who you're dealing with. Most of this video is funny, and that's what makes this contrast so horrifying.
Yeah,
that this could
literally.
Be anyone. A lot of people thought this was the kind of person who wouldn't hide
anyone.
anything,
That's a
but she was hiding
part of it.
far more than most, no matter how poorly she concealed it.
I mean, I understand.
Got punished.
I made a few mistakes. I understand that, but like, come on, it's not that big of a deal.
One of the small details that really stood out to me was how freely she seemed to speak when she didn't realize she was being recorded. It definitely contrasts a lot with her more deliberate speech on TikTok, and it can make you wonder, was the entire persona a lie?
Ammonia is an illness. My mom died from a bad illness of ammonia.
Guys, you heard it here. Ammonia is an illness, not pneumonia. Ammonia. It's not a chemical. No.
You cannot drink ammonia. It happens in the lungs. And she died from it. Get that through your head. Ammonia is not a drink. It's an illness. A lung disease.
Evil does not know an intelligence level. The higher profile cases of serial killers and other notorious criminals demonstrate many forms of high functioning, but evil people can also be really stupid, and we often don't hear about them because it's so common. If anything, intelligent evil is about not being found out, and our learning of someone is due to a blunder that a smarter person wouldn't have made. In the case of Sierra Green, she presented herself as so naive that nobody really deemed her as much of a threat, not realizing that sometimes those people are the most dangerous.
I can't watch that.
These are people whose character deficiencies are ingrained. They lack the self-awareness to have that reckoning. And without serious intervention, they will not want to change or grow. They will only want to return to that realm of power, regardless of the cost. That's why, in some way,
with ammonia. Didn't know it was a disease. I need to report this news.
certainly see her return.
Dude,
because
you
this
gotta
is
go
the
report
closest to
it
power that she
immediately.
has probably ever experienced. We don't know what that will look like. We may not even know it's her, but eventually she will reveal herself through her motives, and the best anyone can do is shine a light on it. Icierra was never meant to be an influential figure.
I know you've been there for a while too, right?
She was meant to be someone who could hold down a perfectly unexceptional job and would spend her free time watching Has-Been Hotel, writing fanfics of herself with Robbie Rotten, and making out with puppets in dimly lit rooms, far away from the eye of civil society. But it's 2025. The internet has given the power to the user on the people they make famous, which presents its own cultural dilemma. Sometimes there's charm in the unlikely hero, who on paper may not have much going on for them except for their own self-belief, particularly when their content is so transcendental of anything we really understand. Yet, the threat of what we don't understand is that we don't really know what it means. It can be positive, but it can also be very, very negative. And you can only really look at the bigger picture once it's all happened.
Babe, quick question.
People just find it entertaining.
Tonight, or should he stay in his crib?
That was definitely the case for Sierra Green, a person whose sickness is easy to see with the power of hindsight, a creator whose pattern of behavior was accented through her disturbed and possessive videos, but was almost too hilariously inept in the moment to be taken seriously. But a clown who's committed a crime is still a criminal, and Sierra is no exception to this role.
Okay, babe, I got a question for you. Give me some attention.
To her, all of those in her life were merely marionettes in her dollhouse of delusion, only able to serve her needs under her absolute control. Yet, her fantasies always ended in a tough dose of reality.
And I just hope everyone in this can finally close this chapter for good and stop giving her a platform permanently.
With Sierra revealing that she was just a puppet to her own twisted desires. In any case, I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
Okay. She's a prime troll target, but that means she gets platformed and exposed to minors. Yep. It's what sucks. It's the hard part of it.
Come now, baby, can't you see?